What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Bear With Us podcast. I'm rolling solo dolo today. Jack is in the process of moving. Jack, I know you're going to watch this back. Congratulations on getting the house. This one's going to be brief. I don't think it's going to last, 15, 20 minutes here. The Bears lose to the Packers, just like me and Jack said. And can I say, before I even get going on sort of what I saw on both sides of the ball, I think anyone who picked the Bears, I don't think they thought that the Bears were the better team. I think they thought they may have been catching the Packers at the right time. Because the Packers still offensively, outside of the run game, they looked phenomenal running the ball. But the passing game still didn't look all that in sync. It looked better than week one, but still, not anything crazy. So let's get right into it. I want to start on the offensive side of the ball because there was a lot more bad than good. Run game, phenomenal. The run blocking was awesome. They were opening up holes. David Montgomery looked great. Khalil Herbert looked good in the limited action that he got. Justin Fields, even in the run game, looked really good. But let's talk about the passing game. It looked, the game plan as a whole looked like the John Fox days. They run the ball well, but passing the ball is just a huge struggle. And there is no sort of link between how well they're running the ball and how well they're passing the ball. And what I mean by that is, why are we waiting until the second half to get Justin Fields rolling out? Why are we only throwing the ball 10 times or 11 times, whatever it wound up being? Why even when Justin Fields has time, are the receivers not getting open at all? That's a lot of what happened offensively, because all in all, I didn't think that the offensive line did all that bad in pass pro. As a matter of fact, I think they did pretty well. I'm curious to see what the all-22 looks like. I wonder if the Packers secondary was really just that good and they were just locking everybody up, or was Justin Fields missing on some of his reads? So that's obviously we don't know that right now with the angle that the television gives us. So all 22 footage will be definitely curious there. But yeah, after last week's game, I admittedly said that it was tough to take away too much because the rain just sort of dampened, I think, what both teams wanted to do. But the one thing that I did notice was that Luke Getsy was being super conservative in the first half against the 49ers. And I said, I'm curious to see, given good weather, what he does against the Packers. And he did the same exact thing. The first drive was solid. The first drive was really good. Then after that, he sort of abandoned the run. There were some penalties and such that threw drives off. So from to a certain degree, I understand it, but he just got really, really conservative. He didn't get Fields out of the pocket. There was no misdirection. There was no RPO. It just felt like such a basic game plan. Then you fast forward to the second half. We're still running the ball really well. But again, he's not really getting Fields out of the pocket. He's not using misdirection. He did a little bit more than he did in the first half. And all in all, it was like, we're running the ball well, but we're down by 2 scores. We're going to have to set the pass up here eventually, and it just never happened. So all in all, I know on the surface, Fields did not have a good game. Let me just throw that out there. I'm not trying to throw a cape for him. I'm not trying to, defend him. And everyone knows I'm a Justin Fields believer. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback in this league. So get that out of the way. But I think offensively, this game had more to do with Luke Getsy. It just seemed to lack creativity. It seemed to lack just any explosiveness. That said, Justin Fields still has to give Mooney a chance on that deep ball. Justin Fields shouldn't have thrown that pick at the end of the game. It's garbage time. Let's get some yardage. So he didn't have a good game. Let's go over to the defensive side of the ball. That run defense is bad. They did not look very good. And that was something that you really couldn't take away anything from in that game against the Niners because the rain was so bad that they couldn't really run the ball. And we know how elite they are at running the football. But the thing I don't think this is isolated to just one game, because if you all go back and watch some of our takeaways from some of those preseason games, I told Jack, I am really worried about the run defense. And sure, could it have just been preseason, but the linebackers just I don't know if they're just not in sync with the interior defensive linemen, or they're not seeing gaps properly, but they don't look really good stopping the run. That leads me to, I think, the elephant in the room here, who is Roquan Smith. he has looked bad 2 straight weeks. There's no other way to dress this up. He can't shed blocks. I don't want to say he can't. He hasn't shed blocks. And even not shedding the blocks, like there were times today against the Packers where they ran the ball, and it was very clear that there was a lead blocker for either Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon. And the first person to get there was Roquan. Fine, you're going to be blocked, but blow up the blocker. Why are you just allowing yourself to be blocked? Like he wasn't trying to run through them. He wasn't trying to hit them. Like I think back of like the elite Bears defenses, and the way that Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs worked so well was because Lance Briggs would take out that lead blocker and then allow Brian Urlacher to do his thing and make a tackle, and sometimes even vice versa. I don't think we have an Urlacher or a Briggs on this team by any means, but the reason why I bring them up is because Roquan Smith wants big money. You're not going to get it playing like that, man. Like it just is what it is. I don't know if he's just not a good fit for the cover 2. I don't know if he's just not seeing things right. I don't know if missing a lot of that camp time, he's not in shape. Something is off. He does not look as fast as he did over the last few years. He isn't making the impact plays these first 2 games that he did the last couple of years. And quite frankly, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in him. If there was someone that I came in this year with high expectations of, it was Roquan Smith. And I'm doing this solo, so mind me, I'm going to jump a little bit because I do want to go back to the offense. And this to me is a reflection of Luke Getsy more than anything. The first 2 weeks, and maybe even throw away week 1. Let's blame it on the rain. Let's just, and be done with it. To not get Darnell Mooney involved. I mean, there were plays where Equanimeous St. Brown was the only wide receiver out there. Cole Kmet has been invisible. Darnell Mooney has been invisible. These are your playmakers. Do we want better ones in the years to come? Sure. I don't think Darnell is a wide receiver 1. I've been on record saying that, but he's your number 1 right now. You have to scheme him open. You have to scheme some plays to get the ball in his hand, and it's just not happening. Now, Cole Kmet, I think this is 50-50 on Luke Getsy and Cole, because he dropped a very easy, about 5 or 6 yard pass that he may have even been able to gain a couple more yards after, and they just really didn't go back to him after that. But I think all in all, and again, mind me, I'm doing this solo, so thoughts are just sort of coming to me. I don't have Jack here to bounce them off. Last thing on the defense, guys, don't get too down on these rookies. Kyler Gordon got attacked. This is what veteran quarterbacks do. Okay, they know who the rookies are. He didn't even look Jalen Johnson's way. I legitimately don't think Jalen Johnson got targeted once, and I don't know if that's a reflection of how good Jalen Johnson is, or a reflection of a quarterback saying, hey, I'm going to pick on the rookie all night until he makes me not do it. And by all means, Kyler Gordon didn't make him think twice. He had that one pass breakup that was nice in the first quarter, I believe. And after that, he was getting lit up. Romeo Doubs got a couple catches on him. Sammy Watkins burned him a couple of times. I think Allen Lazard caught that touchdown off of him as well. I mean, he did not have a good game. All that to say, I want to see how the secondary bounces back next week and how they continue to get better. These guys are rookies. I said this in the Setting the Expectations podcast, that these guys are going to make mistakes. Jaquan Brisker is going to miss some tackles every now and then. He's going to take bad angles. Kyler Gordon is going to have a game where he's coming up against an elite quarterback who is looking to only attack him. And that happened today. It is what it is. I think the way I want to end this, guys, is... and girls, if you're watching, I think our demographic is like 99% men, though, at least according to YouTube. My biggest disappointment, it's not that we lost. We're in year 1 of a retool. We're going to lose games against, the better team more times than not. It is what it is. But my biggest goal for this year was for the Bears to be fun. I just want you to be fun. Be fantasy relevant. Make Cole Kmet a top 8, top 5 tight end. Make Darnell Mooney a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. You know what I mean? Like, have that sort of relevancy where there's something bubbling here. And outside of for a quarter of a half in week 1 and maybe the first drive of week 2, the Bears offense has not been fun. I'm going to be dead ass honest with you guys. I'm still going to give my thoughts on the defense. And I did go in this year thinking they would be a top 12 type of defense. They surely won't if they continue to play like they did today. But I don't care if the defense is like bad or below average. This year was the year for the Bears to solidify an identity offensively, and then we have a ton of cap space next year to continue to build that. We don't live in a defensive era anymore. Being the number 1 or number 2 or a top 5 defense, it doesn't get you anywhere anymore. This is an offensive league. I want this team to leave this season with an offensive identity. And it hasn't looked that way outside of a quarter and a half, when the rain subsided in week 1. And this week, the offense just looked completely lost outside of how good the run game was. So, as I said, me and Jack, we were sort of in the you got to prove it to me mode. You got to prove to me that you can beat Aaron Rodgers. You got to prove to me that you can beat the Packers, because all of our lives, the Packers have completely owned us. And it just didn't happen. I'm not panicking. I think a lot of people will be panicking, but I think it also depends on the type of expectations that you had going into this year. If you thought the Bears had a real legit shot to make the playoffs, you're going to be very disappointed in this game. If you sort of came in like me and Jack, where it's like, I don't care if you win 5 games or I don't care if you win 12 games. I need you to have an offensive identity and I need you to be fun to watch. You're going to be disappointed from that standpoint because they just were not fun to watch. That's everything for me. Just some raw thoughts, some quick thoughts right after the game. Let me know what y'all thought. What did I miss? I see some people complaining about the refs. The game wasn't close enough for me. But was that a touchdown by Justin Fields? Yeah, I thought it was. But the defense hadn't shown that they had the ability to stop the Packers all game. I had no faith that they would be able to get a stop there and get the ball back. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been nice to at least give them a shot, but it is what it is. And on the flip side, Justin, you have to reach the ball out further. And the play call itself was bad. We'll get more into the details on all that on our actual big episode that'll come out Wednesday. Thanks for listening, y'all. Like, share, subscribe. Check out our YouTube shorts as well. We put out our first one, even though we said the Bears were going to win, and we didn't even really predict that. But we're going to continue to churn those out every week as well. Like, share, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. And we will be back in a couple of days. Later, y'all.